Dear children, a warm welcome to this channel. So far, you have seen the second chapter and the fourth chapter through my previous videos. Now, we are going to see about the third chapter, that is the theory of equations in this video and in all my upcoming videos. Okay. See, the third chapter is theory of equations. The name itself indicates that it deals about something about equations, particularly polynomial equations. I think that you don't need an introduction to polynomial, as you have known to this term polynomial right from your 7th standard itself. Okay. So, in this that means in this chapter we are going to see the techniques to find the roots of a polynomial equations of higher degrees, and also about the nature of the roots, and how to solve the reciprocal equations, and to find out the number of positive and negative roots of an equation, and also how to form the given equation given the roots, and finally how to solve a non-polynomial equations using the same techniques of solving a polynomial equations. So, we are going to see all these things in this chapter. Okay. Shall we step into the topic now? At first, let us recall some basics of polynomial equations. Okay. So, let us recall some basics about the polynomial equations. See, you know that the polynomials are denoted by capital P of x, Q of x, R of x, etc. And then if a polynomial is given by this, that is an x power n plus an minus 1 x power n minus 1 plus etc. to a2 x squared plus a1 x plus a naught. If it is denoted by P of x, and this is called a polynomial of degree n or a polynomial function, generally a polynomial of degree n or a polynomial function. See, look at the highest power of the variable used is n, so it is a polynomial of degree n. So, as it is a polynomial of degree n, this an should not be equal to 0. If it is 0, it won't be a degree, if it won't be a polynomial of degree n. So, as it should be a degree of n, this an should not be equal to 0. Okay. Now, if this polynomial is equated to 0, that is, if an x power n plus an minus 1 x power n minus 1 etc. a1 x plus a naught is equal to 0, is equated to 0, then this is nothing but is called as a polynomial equation of degree n. So, if it is simply, it is a polynomial of degree n. When it is equated to 0, it is called a polynomial equation. Okay. Then this degree is represented by the highest power of the variable. Okay, highest power of the variable. Here we are going to deal about the polynomial equations of a single variable, right? And then this constants an minus 1 etc. a naught are called the coefficients. As you know that these constants are called the coefficients, and particularly the first one, that is the coefficient of x power n, is called the leading coefficient, and that term an x power n is called the leading term. Okay. And then if the coefficients all an minus 1 etc. or a naught all are real, then we can say that polynomial is a polynomial over R, right? Then this P of x is said to be a polynomial over R, that is real numbers. So, this polynomial over R, that means it denotes that the coefficients used in that polynomial are real. Okay. Similarly, if it is given the polynomial over C, polynomial over Q means, then according to that the coefficients are belongs to either complex number or a rational numbers. Okay. Then what is the degree? The degree of the polynomial must be a non-negative integer. So, degree of the polynomial is not a negative one, it should be a positive quantity, that is it is not also 0. So, we can so it may be 0, but it is said to be a positive quantity. Therefore, we have given that the degree of the polynomial should be a non-negative integer, right? Then what is said to be a zero polynomial means, if all the coefficients of a polynomial are 0, then it is said to be a zero polynomial. So, zero polynomial may have any degree. So, it may have any degree. It may, we can construct a zero polynomial of degree n or n minus 1, n plus 1, etc. So, if all the coefficients are of a polynomial are 0, then it is called a zero polynomial. Okay. Then every non-zero constant is also said to be a polynomial with degree 0. So even if a constant k is there, then we can also say that k is also a polynomial with degree 0. That is, if k can be expressed as k into some variable x power 0. Okay. So this is also a polynomial with degree 0. Then what is let us define a new term called moning polynomial. So what do you mean by moning polynomial? If the leading coefficient of any polynomial is 1, then that polynomial is called as a moning polynomial. Okay. So if the leading coefficient is 1, then that polynomial is termed as moning polynomial. Okay. Then 0 polynomial is the only one polynomial which has the leading coefficient as 0. So for no other polynomial, the leading coefficient won't be 0, because according to the leading coefficient only we defined the term, and then we can say that the polynomial is of degree n or n minus 1, etc. If the leading coefficient is 0, then we cannot define the polynomial as degree n or n minus 1. So therefore the 0 polynomial is the only one which has the leading coefficient as 0. Okay. Then if the degree of the polynomial is 1, then we can define it as a linear polynomial, and if it is 2, we can say it as a quadratic polynomial. And then if the degree is 3, we can say it as a cubic polynomial, and then if it is 4, we can say it as a quartic polynomial. Okay. So all these are already you have known, just we are recalling this, right? Then if for some value of x, this polynomial, on substituting that value of x, if this polynomial becomes 0, then that value of x is said to be 0 of the polynomial. Okay. And also it can be termed as root or solution of the polynomial equation. Okay. That is, the value of x satisfying the equation p of x is equal to 0 is called its root or solution, or if it makes the polynomial to become 0, then that value is said to be 0 of the polynomial. Again, now we are going to see a new term called multiplicity of a root. Okay. So what does the mean by multiplicity of a root? Means if a root, you know that root means it is nothing but the value of x which satisfies the equation. So if any value of x repeated twice or thrice, so if it gets repeated, then the number of times it gets repeated is called its multiplicity. Okay. So the number of times for an equation, same value can get repeated. So that number of times it gets repeated is called its multiplicity. See, for a polynomial, if x is equal to a is a root, then you know that x minus a will be a factor by factor theorem. If x minus a the whole power k are factors for that polynomial, then we can say that a is called the root of multiplicity k. That means a occurs how many times? K times it occurs. So x minus a the whole power k are factor means then we can say that a is a root of multiplicity k. That is, and moreover, x minus a the whole power k plus 1 does not exist. That means k is the maximum value, right? Then only we can say that a is the root of multiplicity k. So let me explain this multiplicity by means of an example, right? So consider the quadratic equation x squared minus 6x plus 9. As its degree is 2, it is called a quadratic equation. So how to get the value of x? You have known it in your 10th standard. Just by factorizing it and equating it to 0, we can get its value. That is the solution. Now, we can factorize this as x minus 3 the whole square. So it can be factorized as x minus 3 the whole square. As it is equal to 0, x is equal to 3, x is equal to 3. So how many times 3 is get repeated? 2 times it gets repeated. So we can say that 3 is the root of multiplicity 2, right? And one more. Let me give an example in the cubic equation. Consider this cubic equation x cube plus 5x squared plus 8x plus 4. So you know the synthetic division method, right? By using the synthetic division method, by applying plus 1 and minus 1 and find out how the factorizes. On factorizing using synthetic division method, we got the factors as x plus 2 the whole square into x plus 1. So while equating it to 0, you will get the roots as minus 2 and minus 1. So here minus 2 gets repeated twice. So we can say that minus 2 is the root of multiplicity 2. And minus 1 is only one time. So minus 1 is also a root of multiplicity 1. So if any root has a multiplicity 1, then we can say it as a simple root. That is, it occurs only one time. So it is called as a simple root. And if any root occurs twice or thrice or any time k times, it can be say that it is a root of multiplicity of that number. Okay. This is the meaning for multiplicity. Then let us see one result. A polynomial equation of degree n cannot have more than n roots, even if the roots are counted with the multiplicities. So that is the result. That means that if any polynomial equation of degree n, if you find out the solution, the number of solution will not exceed n. Okay, this is the meaning for this result. And even if the roots are counted with the multiplicities, not all the roots are simple root. Even if some roots have multiplicities, include totally we will have only n roots. It won't exceed the number n. The number of roots doesn't exceed the number 1. The next one important theorem called fundamental theorem of algebra. See, only statement alone is enough. The proof is not necessary. So what is the statement of the fundamental theorem of algebra? Every polynomial equation of degree n greater than or equal to 1 has at least one root in C. That is, one value exists in the complex number set of all complex number. C is, you know that the complex number is the biggest set. Okay. See, it has been, the theorem states that every polynomial equation of degree n may be any number greater than or equal to 1, greater than or equal to 1, it has at least one solution in complex number. So what does it mean? By the previous result, we know that for a polynomial equation of degree n, it won't have roots greater than n. So it will have at least exactly n roots. But at least one root will be in C means, you know that not all the roots to be real. Some roots may be in the complex number. So that means some roots may be imaginary. So for a polynomial equation of degree n, so you have n roots even if the roots have multiplicities, but not all the n roots to be real. Some may be imaginary. That is the meaning for fundamental theorem of algebra. Okay. See, I will explain this by means of a small example. Now consider this equation x cube minus 1 is equal to 0. So what does its degree? Its degree is 3. So according to the result 1, it should not have root greater than 3. So it may have 3 roots. Okay, it should, the number of roots shouldn't exceed 3. It may have only 3 roots, right? Now let us find out what would be the 3 roots. So on usually what you will do, you will take x cube is equal to 1, and by taking cube root you will write x is equal to 1. But in that way, if you find out the solution, you will get only one solution, that is 1. Okay, that is not the way. How many solutions you have to obtain? You have to obtain 3 solutions. So what is the method to find out? You have to factorize it. So let us use the formula a cube minus b cube. So what is the formula for a cube minus b cube? The factorization formula. It is a minus b into a squared plus ab plus b squared. Okay. So let us apply that, factorize this by using the formula. So always, in order to find out a solution of an equation, always you have to factorize it and equate each factor to get the value of x. Okay. So let us factorize it. So it would be x minus 1 into x squared plus x plus 1 is equal to 0. So equating each factor, we have x minus 1 is equal to 0 or x squared plus x plus 1 is equal to 0. So in this we get the value of x as 1. Okay. But here it is not a proper, we cannot factorize this quadratic, so we have to use the formula. So x is equal to minus b, that is minus 1 plus or minus root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2, that is minus 1 plus or minus root of minus 3 divided by 2. So minus 1 plus or minus root of minus 3 is nothing but root 3 into I root 3 divided by 2. Okay. So how many roots we have? 1 minus 1 plus I root 3 divided by 2 and minus 1 minus I root 3 divided by 2. So we have 3 roots. Among the 3 roots, only one is real and the other 2 are imaginary. So for a polynomial equation for of degree n, we may have n roots, but not all the n roots be real. Some may be real or some may be imaginary. So that is the fundamental theorem. So that way they have given that for a polynomial equation of degree n greater than or equal to 1, it has at least one root in C. So this theorem states that not all the values will be either the coefficients are complex, imaginary or real. The value of the x will be, not all will be real, some may be in complex number. Okay, sometimes it may exist that all the roots may be real, but at least there will be one root in C, means sometimes we may have complex roots. That is the meaning for fundamental theorem of algebra. Okay, now one more result is there combining these two. So we can say that a polynomial equation of degree n has exactly n roots in C when the roots are counted with multiplicity. So we can combine these two and we can give that a polynomial equation of degree n has exactly how many roots? N roots in complex number. Why they have given C instead of R means R is a subset of C. So even though we have some roots in real number and some roots are imaginary, so we instead of saying partly we have partly the roots in real and partly some roots will be imaginary, instead of saying like that, we can say that all the roots will be belongs to the biggest set complex number C. If the roots are real, we know that all the real roots can also be expressed as a complex number by taking the imaginary part as 0. So we can use the biggest set C. So we can say that a polynomial of equation of degree n has exactly n roots in C even when the roots are counted with their multiplicities. Okay. So these are some basic basic knowledge about polynomials. Okay. So after that, let us go to the actual part of the theory.